can see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us names. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Monday, August 12th, 2024, and this is episode 751 of the Lost Project podcast, and it's titled When Lightning Strikes. I'll be chatting about the start of our 10-day adventure with, a bunch of bullshit. A ton of bullshit. But we'll go back to when it all started, actually, like right before it all started. We'll talk about that. I'll let you know kind of, what it all entailed, how it all went. And, it was something. It was definitely a story to tell. Hope everybody's doing well this morning. I talked about on Friday shifting the show up, changing the show a little bit, messing around with some things, and that is coming. That is still coming. We got everything taken care of, and we got back online last Thursday, I believe. It was last Thursday. And then Corey and I checked out and went to Delinquent Scully this weekend, stayed out at the cabin. So didn't get a whole ton of computer work done. I got the computer up and running on Thursday. We did a test run on Friday, and then I pretty much checked out for the weekend and worked on roofing and insulation and all that stuff. So Rewild their life. Thank you. But anyway, that'll probably be coming this week as I roll through the week and I get some time to edit things. But we're just going to keep rolling on with the show. We're going to keep we're going to be talking, hanging out every morning, and it'll be at least a day or two that we will talk about everything that happened with our unplanned vacation. Good morning, Jim, over on Nostr. Appreciate you stopping in. Let's see who's hanging out in that live chat. We got Rewilder Life in early. Woot. She said, "Welcome back." She was missing things. I think Rachel got in the groove of being here every morning, like some of us did, especially me. It was very strange to not be around for a couple weeks. It was. I thought I was going to enjoy the vacation, but I missed you guys. I missed being around in the morning and things like that. So we will we'll definitely keep doing it. Good morning, Jim on Nostr over on YouTube and everything back and forth. I appreciate that. Hey, good morning, Garble Marbs over on the shorts feed. No, that's actually an Operation Enduring Clusterfuck hat. The vid COVID-19 Operation Enduring Clusterfuck. I think that was appropriate for the stories that will come in the next episode or so. Good morning, Mike's Homestead. Thanks for popping in. Canadian Farmstead have driving. Not sure. Must be driving. Tough to type. And then Real Wilder Life back again says, "Man, I can see your face so much better. You look younger." It must have been the rejuvenating weekend out in the woods. I don't know. Thanks for the zap, Jim. Appreciate it. If you're over on Nostr, Jim, if you want to drop the link to the show, that would be fantastic. I was going to do it this morning, but definitely forgot as I was sitting here doing a bunch of other shit. So anyway, new setup around. We got two huge monitors. If Norman decides to walk through the camper and then lay down, we'll definitely see it. I realized this morning that the stand on this monitor is very wobbly, so we'll definitely get some earthquake action if anybody bounces around. So we'll see about that. See what I can do about fixing that up this week. We could transition. I'm transitioning, folks. Good morning, Hunter. How we doing? Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Twitch, holding out on Twitch over there. And yeah, that's about what I got. Rewilder Life says Their puppy turned 1. No one wants to lift him to see what he weighs. We got sick of lifting our guys, and we used a livestock scale. I think it was between $100 and $200. Picked it up on Amazon, showed up, and it worked great. It was just a small livestock scale. It sat in the living room. What's in the cup today? What's in the cup? Burning through the end of a bag of FTO Blonde Espresso, the FTO Blonde Espresso from Food Forest Farms. It's fantastic. It is one of my favorites. I have a bunch. I don't know if I could really pick a clear winner, but whenever I open up the FTO Blonde Espresso, I know it's going to be extra good. I really enjoy it. I enjoyed it out this weekend, sitting on the deck at Delinquent Scully out in the woods, and I was glad it was FTO Blonde this weekend. So FTO Blonde Espresso, you can find it at foodforestfarms.com. That's foodforestfarms.com. foodforestfarms.com, premium air roasted coffee, and so much more. We'll talk about halfway through the show. I'm going to start stopping and doing a little mid-roll mention of the sponsor that we have, Food Forest Farms and the C4 Club. So we will do that a little later. Brew Wilder Life's drinking Kalamazoo blend with maple. Good morning, Jamie. How we doing? Off-grid ping. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Sorry we didn't make it down to see you. We were acclimating the dogs to the cabin, to the new place, to the new walks. We were getting some stuff done, and it might be a few weeks before we can make that venture. We will see. They did fine, but they are very routine, and they've spent almost their whole life in hanging out with us in here. And when things change, we'll see what we can do about getting over to see our new neighbor there. Jamie, appreciate you popping in this morning. All right. So 2 weeks ago, I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. 2 weeks ago, I randomly disappeared on a Monday. If you're in the Telegram chat, and that's a big thing for the Telegram chat at t.me/lotschat. All you do is go to your web browser, you type in https://t.me t.me/lotschat t.me/lotschat, and you'll be able to stay in touch when things go sideways, because with all our problems that we have, we lost our internet, and where we're staying right now, we get very, very, very little cell service. About the only thing that I could use to communicate on a regular basis, and that was even regular would be a stretch. I would get bursts of notifications every once in a while. I would get 3 or 4 messages in. I would get 3 or 4 messages at once. Pictures would load. Sometimes they would not. But I was at least able to communicate out with the community and let them know I was alive, I was upright, kind of what happened. But yeah. Telegram group, t.me/lotschat. Or you can always find me at my website. You can find all my contact information there. If you wanted to reach out, you could always find a way to get a hold of me there. Jamie says you'll have to stop by and see what Mario did. And Bree Wilder Life's wondering who Mario is. Mario's one of the other neighbors out at Delinquent Scully, and he's helping Jamie with some dirt moving, I imagine. But I will definitely stop by and check it out when I'm out this week. I'll be out several times, and I think we're planning on popping out again next weekend. So Jim says drop a link here. Jim, what are you looking for a link for? The Telegram group or Brandon on the go. Brandon on the go with a joke over in the vertical feed. I like it. I like it. I like it. Hold on, Jim. I'll get that link for you, and then I'm gonna tell Brandon's joke. That's funny. That is not the link. This new keyboard I got with the computer, I haven't switched back to my Bluetooth keyboard. It's this wired keyboard, and it's just a little different shape. It's just it's taken some get some used to, and it's wired along with the mouse. I just plugged them both in because they were in the box, and I haven't dug out my my other one yet from my fried laptop. Brandon on the go over in the vertical feed says, "What do plumbers and economists have in common?" If you guys want a second to answer that, you're welcome. I think I've heard this before, but man, it's been a while, and I like it. I like it. What do plumbers and economists have in common? They both deal with gross domestic products. Whoa. Oh, Monday morning. Anyway, so let's get into what happened. So we're rolling back now to July 27th. Saturday, July 27th. That's where we roll back to, is so about just over 2 weeks ago. So it was 2 weeks on Saturday. Corey and I were preparing to start spending Hunter, did I mess that up? Hunter, did I mess the over on Twitch? Why did you repost my link? What is going on? Jim says Brandon told it better. Brandon did tell it better. Brandon didn't. It no worky. Oh man, really? Son of a bitch, guys. This day is starting weird. Did it work when you put it in, Hunter? Still working out the kinks. I'm new at this, you know. It's only been 750 episodes. Why not? Rewild Their Life says Brian was stuck by is it dot lots? I think it's a slash. Hold on. Hold the phone. We'll get out of there. It's a slash. Shit. Hold the phone. This is not good. Here we go. I copied it right from the Telegram app. Sorry, I'm having a rough go of it this morning. Maybe it's case sensitive. Maybe. I don't know. But there it is, straight from Telegram app. T.me/Lots Chat, all capitals on the Lots Chat. See if that Canadian Farm says I think Brian got fried by the lightning. Yeah. It was, guys, it's been a rough morning anyway. So with the new computer, with the new setup, with all the monitors, with things going on, it's just been kind of spacey. And then I was checked out all weekend for sure. Hunter says it's not case sensitive. Well, what is the difference between what I wrote the first time and the second time if it's not case sensitive? I don't know. Anyway, let's get to it. Corey and I were preparing to start spending weekends out at Delinquent Scully. We had been planning this for a while. We had some things that were going on. Corey's parents visited for a while. Carrie Brown was out for a visit, stayed in Tim's cabin. And we were trying to figure out how to make it so that it was comfortable for the dogs. Okay. Okay. Um, we were trying to figure out how to make it comfortable for the dogs. So the cabin isn't insulated yet. Corey and I wanted to go out and test run. It was nice and warm. We wanted to go out and test run our portable air conditioner in the small 16 by 16 cabin. Even though it wasn't insulated, we wanted to see if it would be comfortable for the dogs to run that in there. Tim had insulation and all of that stuff ordered. That was going to be a work priority going forward. Get that done. And then it would definitely be climate controlled because of the size of it and the size of the air conditioner we have. So Corey and I had been making lists about what we needed to take out there that we hadn't been using at the camper. Stuff that was heavy, stuff that we didn't want to carry back and forth, stuff that we could store out there that we needed for the weekends, but we didn't need here. Some of the things that we came up with were our a generator, because it's off grid. There's no power there. We do have solar panels, but if we were going to run the air conditioner, we were definitely going to need the generator, propane tank. I took the air conditioner out. Our air conditioner in the camper had been working perfectly fine through the heat that we had going on here. So we hadn't been using our portable air conditioner that we had picked up. We took that out. We took it out to the cabin. Like I said, while we were there, kind of evaluating and getting set up for the dogs, everything like that. We ran the air conditioner on the generator for a little while. It cooled off the cabin fairly well, even though there was no insulation in it yet. We took out some other things. We took a pile of stuff. It's escaping me exactly what we took out totes with kind of secondary supplies we had, extra blankets and silverware and kitchen things and all of that. So Corey and I made a couple trips up with a bunch of supplies. While I was taking up, we took up a bunch of water too, to have on site. While we were transferring it up from the truck, I had a little problem with our cart. Our cart that we had used while we were traveling, we had purchased one that collapsed down. It goes in the truck. It wasn't the ideal like garden cart or off-roading cart or things like that. We used it when we were in Texas, when we were stuck at the bottom of the hill during the rain. We couldn't get the truck out. We used it to transport water and things like that. But man, it really definitely, it wasn't a off-road type of cart. The wheels weren't right. The wheels were kind of wonky. It was all a function of it being able to collapse down. So while I was using it to move the water, possibly the propane, I don't know, it was a heavier load. It got caught on one of the rough trails that we travel to get up to the cabin, and it basically fucked the cart up. So this should have been the first sign that things were going to start going sideways. But the wheel kind of bent over. It wouldn't roll right. I got a little upset. Corey said that she looked out the front of the cabin. She was getting things ready, and all she saw was me picking up the cart and throwing it into the woods. Just launched it out into the woods. Ended up retrieving it, ended up keeping it. I don't know if it's going to be fixable once those metal brackets bend. They're kind of fucked. So finished the rest of everything, just carrying it with no cart. Was satisfied. We figured we needed a new cart regardless. We were going to get one for the property. And so we decided that we were going to go down to Savannah on our way home, roundabout on our way home. We're going to go down to Savannah. We were going to go to Tractor Supply and Lowe's and Harbor Freight and see if we could find a cart, a more appropriate off-road cart that doesn't necessarily have to be collapsible because it would have been left out at Delinquent's Gully to haul all our shit around. And so we finished up what we were going to do there. We were ready. Like I said, this was a Saturday. So we were planning on going out to the cabin the following Friday for the first time with the dogs. The first time, actually, either of us were staying out on the property, and we're gonna and stay out there in Tim's cabin. And so we pack up, we have everything set. We go down. Corey and I, we went to Tractor Supply. We looked at carts. We went to Lowe's. We looked at carts. We went to Harbor Freight. They didn't have any carts. And there were a couple different models. We were kind of going back and forth. One was a little wider than the other. One was $100 more than the other. And I held off because I wanted to. We have a bridge out at Delinquent's Gully, a bridge that a couple of folks made on Workday last year, and I wanted to measure how wide it was and how wide some of the spaces we had to take the cart, because I thought one was just a little bit too wide. Turns out I think they both would have fit, but I wanted to get out there during the week. I was going to have to go back to Savannah during the week, so I just wanted to get a measurement, and I was going to pick up the cart. We stopped and had a good dinner, a dinner that we weren't able to have when Corey's parents were here because they were closed the day we tried to go there. We stopped at Earl's, Corey had her baked potato, and I had a really good burger. Enjoyed our afternoon, and I was supposed to go on Meet the Butchers. Meet the Butchers? Is that what that kid's show is called these days? Meet the Butchers, the Backwoods Butchers weekly podcast and live stream. Kyle had asked me earlier in the morning if I would come on that evening and bullshit with him and his partner Joe. And I had agreed. So I was gonna go on Meet the Butchers. We rolled home. We were kind of hanging out before the show. Got to be about 6:30-ish. I was like, well, I better get going, getting the computer fired up and all of that. Go in the bedroom, fire up the computer, let it sit there, and I went out to spend a little bit more time with Corey before the show started. We were sitting in the living room, bullshitting a little bit, maybe having a glass of wine or two. And it was raining. Nothing significant. I mean, nothing that we were worried about. We had popped up the radar. It was not a severe storm by any means, but we heard it raining. I was concerned that it was going to start raining too hard for me to have signal to go on Kyle's show, but it lightened up. It was just kind of a passing rainstorm. But all of a sudden, Meet the Critters. That's it. Meet the Butchers. Meet the Critters. Yeah, close enough. Kyle and his partner Joe. And so it got to be about, I don't know, man, it was getting close. It was like 6:45, 10 to 7. And Corey and I were sitting in the living room, and there was just an enormous bang. Like enormous. It was the loudest. We had lightning strike in the front yard when we first moved here. Hit a tree, and it was loud. And it is what kind of freaked Clyde, one of our dogs. It freaked him out. It made him scared of lightning now. It was that close. I think this was closer for some reason. I haven't been able to find out where it was. I haven't noticed. I have a general idea of the direction, but I didn't see anything like on fire that night. But a lightning strike happened. It happened really close, like shake the camper close from the rumble. And it was instant. It was like the flash, the bang. Corey and I both felt like our skin tingle. And everything in the camper went dark. It wasn't quite dark outside, but we had the air on. We had all the shades drawn. We had reflectors in the window, so it was dark in here. Everything went dark. The air conditioner went off. The lights went off. The fans all went off. And it was hot. It was over 90. It was over 90 outside. It was still kind of cool in here because the air had been running for a little while. But everything was dead. And if you remember what I said, we had just taken a trip out to Delinquent Scully and take a bunch of stuff that we hadn't used yet. We hadn't used it in a while. Like a generator, because the power was fucking out now. And my generator was a half an hour away and a walk up a hill. My propane tank for my generator was there. My air conditioner was there. But, if I got power back, my air conditioner at the camper would work just fine. I can run that off of my generator. And so we're trying to figure out what happened. Right there at the immediate. And so I send Kyle a message and let him know that I probably won't be making it on the show. Just had a lightning strike. I think it took out power. We will see. What comes of it. If it comes back on. Well, the fact that it was so warm, the fact that our dogs get warm pretty quickly, we made the call that I needed to go out and get my generator at a minimum. We started thinking, we're like, well, should probably bring the air conditioner back, should probably bring the generator back, bring the propane back. All these things I just humped up the hill earlier that day. Corey was going to stay with the dogs because we are going to have to open up the camper once it started warming up. At least it was evening. The sun was going to be beating on the camper. It was going to stay relatively climate controlled, and we had it cooled off, so that was a good thing. But she stayed back just in case it started getting warm. Didn't know how long it was going to take me to make that round trip. It's about a half an hour drive to one way. So I figured I was going to be an hour. I was going to have to come back. I was going to get the power up and running, get the air conditioner running, and then I could probably see what was going on. Actually, I figured what was going to happen was I was going to drive to the property. I was going to load everything out, get back, and the power was going to be back on and everything was going to be fine. That's what I thought was going to happen. Looking around, everybody's power was out, but no real damage. Didn't see much damage outside. We went outside. The neighbors had heard what had happened. We had heard what happened. We were kind of outside milling around. I jumped in the truck and I headed out to Delinquent Scully to get the generator. That was the biggest thing, was the generator, but I was going to grab everything else while I was out there. Take off, driving along, get there. I forgot my water. First of all, forgot water. I was in such a hurry. I forgot anything to drink, and it was so humid. I think part of the problem with the lightning strike was the humidity, and I'll talk about that a little later in the story. I don't even know if I'll get to it today, but it was super humid. Like, it was so humid that if you had the windows down in the truck, which it happened at some point, and you had the air conditioner on, it was blowing like a steady stream of fog out of the air conditioner because of the cold air and how humid it was. But forgot my water, so I swung into the gas station. I grabbed some water, grabbed a Gatorade. I'm trying to calm down. I'm driving out to get the generator, and I get, it's approximately a half an hour. I got 29 and a half minutes away from home. Like, literally, I could see the easement road from the road. And as I come up over this little hill, on the last ascent to get to the easement road, I see brake lights. And I see four-wheeler brake lights in the road. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Slow down, kind of evaluate what's going on, and there's a big tree across the road. Well, it looks like a branch from where I'm at. Branch across the road. There's a four-wheeler there. There's a truck stopped. I figured this is Tennessee. We're in the woods of Tennessee. Somebody's pulling that off. We're going to get on our way and blah, blah, blah. So I hung back a little bit. Didn't know what they were doing, if they were getting ready to pull this thing with a four-wheeler, if they're cutting it up. And so I sat back for a second. I was just observing. all of a sudden somebody comes around on a four-wheeler. Four-wheeler was up by the branch, turns around, comes back. She's like, that's a big tree in the road there. We tried to pull it, but I couldn't get it to move. We're going to have to go find a chainsaw. And I'm like, okay. I got to get back with this stuff. I don't have time to dick around with this. Like I mentioned earlier, there's no cell service for me with Verizon. Pretty much, it's really spotty. Well, in that spot, I didn't have any. I didn't have a way to pull up GPS to see if I turned around how to get to the easement road. Like literally 100 yards from it or less. I didn't know if I could get around and come in from the other direction, which turns out I could have. But anyway, I was thinking to myself, hey, Pickle Pete, how's it going? Good morning. I was thinking to myself, be great if I had my chainsaw in the back of the truck. Could cut this up. I didn't. It was up at the property, 300 or 400 yards away, up on a hill. Had been clearing trees up at our place. Hadn't put it back in the truck. Good morning, Pip. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you stopping. And so I wanted to go up and take a look at this tree. She said she tried to move it a four-wheeler. There was another guy there. I was like, well, let's see how bad this is. So as I'm walking up, driving up, I drove up past the dude in the truck. He's standing there. His wife's in the truck. I'm kind of look at him. I roll up. Jamie says, should have yelled out his name. Could have come frolicking through the woods with his saw. Literally, I could have yelled your name. I think you would have heard me. I don't know if you would have been able to tell what I was saying. But I actually considered it. I actually considered it. And so I roll up past this guy's truck. He's got his hazards on. The wife's in the truck. He's standing next to it. I roll up past him. I roll up right to the branch. And I get out and I start looking. And this fucker is huge. I shouldn't say it was a branch. It was half a tree. A quarter of a tree. Probably a quarter of a tree. What it had done was a huge oak tree on the side of the road, and it split off the road. So here's the road. Tree split and fell like this. It was from the trunk of the tree through the ditch, across the road, across the other ditch, and about 20 feet into the woods on the other side of the road. It was probably 20 to 30 feet down the road. So wide. Pretty tall. I'm 6.5 foot tall. It was all of up to my neck, at least, as it was laying there in the road. And I'm like, this wasn't even a bad storm. Like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on with this lightning strike? What is going on with this tree in the fucking road? And so I literally was losing my shit at that moment. Like, I was having a bad fucking day at that point. Hotter than hell. I'm soaking wet. It was so humid. Like I said, the air conditioner was blowing fog. I still had the window down. This is how I knew the air conditioner was blowing fog. I got back in the truck and I was like, I don't have my chainsaw. Can't drive over this. I don't have any cell signal to figure out the way around. It's dark now, or getting darker where I was. It was down in the woods a little bit. And so I started thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to get there? I need to get my generator. I need to get this figured out because my wife is back with the dogs and they're going to start getting fucking hot. So I get out of the truck again. I'm looking at the tree. I kind of start digging through the truck and I realized I had my tow strap. I have a big tow strap that I have. Recovery strap for getting the truck unstuck and the camper unstuck, whatever we need. I had that big nylon tow strap with shackles. I was like, maybe since I have the tow hooks on the front of the truck, I can grab onto the tree, back up the truck. with a big F-250. I got a lot of weight. I got, I got the power. I pulled that fucking camper. I should be able to pull this branch out of the road. So I'm expecting the dude, as I'm looking in my truck, I'm looking in the back, I'm looking in the seats behind behind the front seats and all of this shit. I'm expecting the dude who's, middle-aged, my age. I don't know who he was. I mean, it is who it is. It is what it is. I was expecting them to come up and be like, hey, you need a hand? What are you doing? Do you think we can get this out of here? Nothing. He just stood back there. So I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I climb up through this tree. I find the biggest branch I can. I wrap it around. I come back. I go to hook my truck up. I got to pull the truck forward, get in the truck, get out of the truck, hook it up. Well, I'm ready to go. I start pulling, and I get a little give. I give her a little. I try to snap it to give it a little momentum. It gives a little, and the road was wet. My tires started spinning. I was like, shit. Well, I went over and looked, and the tree had split down the trunk, but it was still attached. So it was like this. And I was trying to pull it perpendicular. So all of my force that was pulling that heavy-ass limb, it was several limbs, that heavy-ass section of tree wasn't enough force to peel it off the tree the rest of the way. So I was fighting against myself, basically. So the heavy tree, the top of the tree is in the woods across the road. The bottom of the tree is still attached to the trunk of the tree. And all I needed was a fucking chainsaw, but I didn't have one. And so I looked at it some more. I calmed down. Like, I had to slow down. I had to think about shit because I had to make this happen. I rearranged and I jockeyed around, and I'm on a very, very narrow backcountry road. I get turned around enough that I was able to pull away from the trunk. At this point, I wasn't trying to get the tree off the road. I was trying to get the tree unattached from its trunk. I pulled at a different angle. I reattached, I pulled. I finally got it to rip free. I said, all right, got it. This is going to be good. I'm going to pull this out of the way and get out of my way. As I started pulling, it started turning the tree, and I realized how big it was, like how really big this was. It started pulling out of the woods a little bit. I stopped and I reevaluated. It wasn't going to go anywhere. I wasn't going to be able to get this out of the road with my truck. I was bordered on one side by woods. I was bordered on the other side by a farmer's field. And the ditches were there. I couldn't get enough angle to pull this off into the ditch. Like, just physics doesn't make it happen that way. So I started thinking, what could I do to at least get by? Dude in the truck, as I'm evaluating, comes strolling up. He goes, well, I called dispatch. Good morning, living free in Tennessee. Thanks for stopping in. He says, well, I called dispatch and they hung up on me. And if anybody's hung out with me when I've been in a little bit of a stressful environment, this was stress level like 14 out of 10. Wasn't really in the mood for some guy to come up and have a conversation and basically tell me fucking nothing, that he's useless. Basically that he was useless in that moment. He might not be a useless human being. I don't want to say that because I don't know him. I don't know who he was. But in that moment, he was basically useless to me. He went back, strolling back to his truck, and I went back to work. I needed to get past the tree. I figured out that the main branch, so the part that ran up the trunk that had split off, had become a main branch of this oak tree. And I figured if I could get this tree turned around and get that main limb off the road down into the ditch, that maybe I could sneak by on the other side. So I kept rearranging. I repositioned the truck. I repositioned the strap, everything, and I got it. And I pulled it and got it to slide over. I got the main, and it was probably I would have to say it was at least 2 foot diameter above the split. I got this pulled off onto the side of the road, and that's all I could do. I couldn't angle anymore. I couldn't get out in this guy's field. I couldn't, like, there was a fence there. And so I'm looking at it, trying to figure out what I could do. Chainsaws at the property. The 12-inch DeWalt cordless is at the property. I got no chainsaws. I'm like, how am I going to Chris Dixon, good morning. Thanks. Living Free in Tennessee says sounds like a heavy tree. It was very heavy. It was spinning the tires on my F-250. So yeah, it was heavy for sure. Chris Dixon says need to incorporate a part of that tree in your cabin. It's part of the story now. It's gone. It's gone actually. But anyway, it was still across the road and into the woods. Living Free in Tennessee says I would have called a redneck. Well, I was the only redneck that was available at that moment. So as I got this turned and the trunk is actually off the road, the tree is still in the woods across the other side of the street. So I'm like, holy fuck, this is huge. And so I'm looking around, I'm looking to see if I had a hand saw, a bow saw, something in the truck. I have all this shit. Like, some of it has to be left in the truck. It can't all be at the camper or all be at the property. Something's in the truck. Nothing in the bed. I had my Leatherman with a little tiny saw on it. The branches that I went and looked and realized if I could cut 3 branches that were probably, I don't know, 6 inches, 8 inches or more in diameter. If I could get those cut off at the trunk, I could pull those sections off and be able to drive by, go get the generator, go get everything I needed, and get back home. But I didn't know how the hell I was going to do it. And so I was thinking, and all of a sudden I realized, you know what? I had just got a package in the mail for a product to evaluate. Actually, 2 products to evaluate. And there were 2 products I was really excited about, and I'd slid them in the back seat under some stuff. A company had sent me out a splitting maul, a 3-foot splitting maul, and a 17-inch camping hatchet. And I thought to myself, you know what? What a better way to test this shit out. The hatchet was too small. Like, the hatchet was really too small. It was more for like making kindling and shit like that. It wasn't for cutting a limb the size I was going to need to do, especially 3 of them. But the splitting maul was long enough, but it was a splitting maul. It didn't have an axing head. It had a splitting head on it. But it was brand new. It was sharp. It was 3 foot. It was heavy. And I didn't have any other options. So as this guy that called dispatch stood back in his truck and watched me, I lumberjacked the fuck out of that tree. I chopped the fucking branches off. One by one, 3 of them. And pulled the limbs out into the ditch. I cleared them. Mike's Homestead says he hopes he made content. I hope he did too, because I was on fire. I was fucking on fire. It was so humid and so hot, and I'm swinging a fucking splitting maul trying to chop a goddamn tree up in the middle of the road. Jim says that guy went home with a story. Yeah, this fucker rolls up in his truck, and he's like, I don't have time to wait. So he starts yanking the tree out of the way. Then he's swinging at it with an axe. So I start chopping at these fucking branches, and I get it. I get the first one done. I pull that off. I'm like, okay, if I get these other 2 done, I'll be able to get by. Probably. I'll be able to get by enough that I can roll over whatever else is in the way if I need to. So I'm chopping these up, dropping the axe, grabbing the branch, pulling it out of the way, throwing it in the ditch. And I'm just irritated as I'm watching this guy stand next to his truck. Like, dude, you can at least fucking move the branch for me. I just kept going. And so I get the 3 branches axed off. I was excited because I only hit the pavement with the brand new fucking splitting maul once out of all the swings. I get them out of the way. I look at my truck. I'm like, yep, I can swing by. I can get by there barely. And so I start packing up my stuff. I start rolling up my strap. I start to throw in the axes in the truck. And the guy starts wandering up towards the truck. Jim says, "Hey, branch boy, do something." He walks up and he's like, "Well, I got a hold of somebody. They should be out to move this. I don't know when. I don't know when they're going to be out to do it." I said, "Well, I don't need them to fucking move it. I got enough room to get by. You have a good night." Jumped in the truck, took off. Like, I had more important things to do. I had to get by that fucking tree. So I get by the tree. I come screaming up the easement road up towards Jamie's. Jamie sees me. I'd never been there that late. Maybe when Tim was out, we were doing a get together or something, but I hadn't been going out to the property that late ever. Jamie sees my truck coming up the easement road. He starts walking over to the driveway. I jump out. I'm like, "Dude, will you help me?" "Would you help me?" Jamie says, "I have to tell you the other way because the amount of time it sounds." I know the other way now. It was dark and it was a bad moment. Jamie starts walking over to the truck and I was like, "Dude, can you help me carry some shit?" If you remember earlier, my cart ended up in the fucking woods because the wheel broke. I didn't have a cart. And I had to carry a generator, an air conditioner, a propane tank, all of this shit down the hill to the truck. "Jamie, can you help me carry a bunch of stuff? Please." Jamie's like, "Yeah." Jamie, Off-Grid Ping here. If you guys don't follow Jamie on YouTube and all his socials, you really need to. He is an outstanding man. He helps whenever he can. He's doing an awesome job out. He's got a bunch of cool shit going. His social media is fantastic. And I couldn't have done it without him that night. I would have had to made like 4 or 5, 6 or 7 trips at least up and down that hill. And nothing under 40 pounds to carry with no cart. Jamie came back there with me, made trips, made more trips than I did. He took off and started carrying stuff while I was gathering all the stuff that I needed. It gave me a minute to slow down and really go through the list of things I needed to grab while he took the first trip down. He helped me out. He carried everything down. We got everything loaded up in the truck. I grabbed the air conditioner. I grabbed the generator. I grabbed the propane. Man, we grabbed a bunch of shit, didn't we, Jamie? All the stuff we had just brought out there earlier in the day because we weren't going to need it, and we hadn't needed it for so long. And so get it down to the truck. I get in the truck. I drop Jamie off at his place. I get out to the easement road. The truck of the guy and his wife that had watched me chop up the tree, they were gone. The tree was still there. Could still basically barely squeeze by the tree. Get by that, and I'm heading home. I'm like, so seriously, we just had a lightning strike, and I had no idea how bad the lightning strike was yet. I just thought we were out of power. I was going for the generator. The smaller air conditioner to make the generator run a little smoother. And so I'm headed back. To get everything set up. I'm headed back, half-hour drive back. I'm like calming down a little bit. I'm freezing cold because I have the air conditioning on and I'm soaking wet from the humidity. It was a really, really nasty night, guys. You don't even understand how humid it was that night. I make the half-hour trip back. I get back and I tell Corey, you're not. Oh, and the dog gates. Oh yeah, we had to get the doggy gates because we brought the gates out. We hadn't had the air conditioner off and the doors open in the camper in so long that we decided to take the gates for the doors out to the cabin ahead of time because we weren't going to need them. Yeah. Yeah, sure. I get back and I say to Corey, I was like, you're not going to believe what happened. She's like, what do you mean? Like thinking that the lightning strike, the power being out, me having to go out to get the generator after we just pulled all the stuff, it wasn't bad enough. I said, "Oh, I got about 50 yards from the easement road and 50 yards from the easement road, and there's a fucking tree across the road." So I had to deal with that. She's like, "What?" I told her the whole story. Unloading the shit out of the truck. And yeah. Looking over at the neighbors and the power's back on. Neighbor's lights are on. I'm like, wait a second. I look over at another neighbor's house and the lights are on. Power's on. Asked Corey, I said, well, is the power out in the camper? She's like, no. Now I'm confused. I'm really confused. I've been running around like crazy for, it must have been 2 hours at this point. At least the round trip, because it's hour driving. Yeah, maybe about 2 hours and 2.5 hours. And so I go out and I'm looking at the power pole. We got no power in the camper. The neighbors have power. I go out and look at the power pole, see if it flipped the breaker. I flipped the breaker, nothing. I look down, and we had a surge protector that a company had sent out. Canadian Farmstead says, my favorite part of the episode was when Brian stoically hurled his garden cart into the forest. Corey thought that was pretty spectacular too. She's like, oh, I'm just enjoying it, being out in the cabin, out in the woods. And I look out the front window and you're just chucking the fucking cart into the woods. Oh yeah, that was good. And so I'm looking at the surge protector that we had plugged in, and there's nothing on it. When it's plugged in and there's power, it has the voltage on it or errors or whatever. It lights up as soon as you plug it in. And so on our pole here at the place we're staying, we have a 30 amp plug, we have a 50 amp plug, and we have a 20 amp plug. Jim says sometimes you have to let go of the cart. Yeah, let go of it into the air. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe it blew. Maybe it blew the 30 amp plug. I'll grab my adapter. I got a 30 to 50 amp adapter. I'll plug my surge protector. Hunter's wondering if I have one of them fancy dancy EMP shield things. Not for the camper, I didn't. Probably will invest in one for the the cabin. The camper, I'll talk about it probably tomorrow. The camper was designed by an electrical engineer that does solar installs. And it was designed with ground functionality into it. So I'll talk about that later. EMP shield really wasn't on the map when I made this camper. So anyway, I get the adapter, the 50 to 30 adapter. I go over to the 50 amp plug and I plug the surge protector in and nothing. And I'm like, that's weird, because the adapter's got a light, an indicator light in it, and the adapter lit up. The surge protector didn't light up. And I was like, it blew the fucking surge protector. The surge protector did its job. Perfect. I was excited. I was like, okay, the surge protector did its job. The outlet's still good. The I'll be able to plug it in. We'll be good to go. I made that trip for fucking nothing. I'm okay with that if everything's going to work. Living Free in Tennessee said, I just installed the EMP shield here. My electrician was impressed with the device, said it was the best he's seen. Yeah, I've been digging more in, especially since this whole incident. And I don't know if it would have helped us, actually. I'm still researching that because I think we had electricity coming from multiple directions. But anyway, I was excited the adapter lit up because that meant the 50 amp plug was still good. I assumed at that point that the 30 amp plug was still good. That all that happened was the surge fried the surge protector and it did its job. So I take our plug, I plug it into the 30 amp. No luck. No power. I plug my plug into the adapter. I plug it into the 50 amp, come into the camper. All our fans came on. The lights didn't come on. All the fans came on. So the outlets came on, but none of the lights came on. The air conditioner wouldn't come on. Something was awry in the camper. I determined that the surge protector was blown, but the surge protector didn't do everything it was supposed to because something was wrong in the camper. So it was dark at this point. I had no lights in the camper. We had our lanterns. A lot of our battery operated stuff had gone into the tow to go out to the cabin. But we did have backup power here. We had headlamps and things like that. It is what it is. And so I start troubleshooting really fast. And quickly determined we had AC power coming into the camper. We didn't have any DC power. Our lights were out. Our water pump wasn't working. Our max fan wasn't working. All our DC components weren't working. None of the DC fuses were blown. The air conditioner, which runs on AC, the AC runs on AC, at this point is giving me an error code on the thermostat. And our Starlink isn't working, which is on AC. So that was weird. Tried different outlet with that. No luck. And so I'm spinning in my head and trying to put it all together and understand what actually happened. I was very thankful that for the last year, I was last decade. Let's see, at least. I would say 15 years I've been in maintenance, service tech industry, basically troubleshooting on a day-to-day basis. It came in handy. It really did. All the job hopping, all the moving up in wage and rank or position, and then quitting and going to a different industry, learning something new, really was about to pay off for sure. Being able to troubleshoot the camper. So I grabbed my multimeter. I said, we don't have any lights. We got box fans. It's cooling off a little bit. I talked to Corey. I said, do you mind if I wait till morning when it's light to kind of troubleshoot all this? We can use fans. We got lanterns if we need to get up in the night. Can we just make it through till morning? And she was okay with it. The dogs were doing okay. Like I said, it was cooling off. So we made a hot, sweaty night with fans and made it through. Tomorrow is going to be, to the next morning is going to be troubleshooting and really figuring out what happened. Living Free in Tennessee says, if lightning hits something directly that isn't on the other side of the protection, it doesn't protect it. Right. Kind of like if it hits your Starlink device directly instead of surges through it. Yeah, right. So at this point, I have AC power to the camper. I have no DC power in the camper. I have no internet. I have no air conditioning. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. A surge going in from the power pole wouldn't have. Well, I didn't know. I was still going to have to troubleshoot. But in my brain at that point, a surge coming in wouldn't allow me to have AC power at the outlets. It would have blown my breaker at the panel. It would have probably done some significant damage to things plugged in. My laptop wouldn't come on either. That was another thing that was awry. But things on the AC were working. The AC outlets were working. It didn't fry the fuse panel. It didn't fry my inverter, which is in line. I didn't know. The DC was gone in the camper, which is weird because I got a wonky setup. Even with the solar, my DC comes from my AC. So something was causing that. The air conditioner had an error code on it. The Starlink wasn't working. I went to bed. Tomorrow's show, I'm going to tell you what happened when we woke up in the morning and the troubleshooting and the fallout from the lightning strike. And what I still to this day. Hunter said, did I figure out the error code? I did. I had enough service to Google that real quick, or over about 6 minutes to get the answer. It was a communications error. It was a communications error with the thermostat. I'll talk about that in the morning, what I did about that. I'm glad I'm back too. Living Free in Tennessee. Thanks. I am glad I'm back too. It was a long 2 weeks. A long, dark 2 weeks with no internet service and no phone service and trying to troubleshoot and everything. So the story gets better. I mean, if the first night had been the worst, it would have been okay. But that wasn't the end of it. That wasn't the end of it for sure. So we'll talk about it tomorrow. I missed it mid-roll, but if you guys are interested in joining the C4 Club, we got an awesome, there's an awesome coffee club that I'm a member of that's a coffee club and so much more. It's the C4 Club from Food Forest Farms. It's a pretty interesting deal. C4 being camping, consulting, a condo, or coffee, and you're like, what do you mean about that? Brian's got something set up over at Food Forest Farms where you pay $40 minimum a month. You gotta commit to buying two pounds of coffee, or spending an average of $40 a month out at his Airbnb, and the price is insignificant to me. The coffee I get for the coffee he sends, the price I pay for the coffee he sends is well worth the C4 Club. If you're in the greater Seattle area, or you travel there, maybe you're a Seahawks fan, you fly in for the games, or you fly into Seattle for something a few times a year, you can use the money you commit to the C4 Club to staying in Brian's Airbnb. Brian also provides a shuttle service around the city if you hang out and you want to do some things. He'll Sherpa you around the city. These are all things that can come up with the C4 Club. I'm getting a list put together here of all the benefits. I've been a member for like over 2 years, I believe. Over 2 years. Nicole, another coffee roaster, says he roasts some good stuff, and she's a member. K-Bonk says Food Forest Farms, Brian Best is the best C4 Club. Brian's blend is pretty phenomenal. $40 a month, 2 pounds. You can add on up to 100 pounds. The club comes in with a built-in white label service. You got a captive audience. You are a member of a charity. You are something. You have a white label. You have a white label coffee company, up to 100 pounds a month with your C4 membership. The member benefits are phenomenal, and we'll list them out at different points here. But check out C4 Club, foodforestfarms.com, foodforestfarms.com. Check out Lots 10, LOTS 10 is 10% off if you want to try Brian's coffee before you join the club. Go on over and order a pound or two, get 10% off, and always free shipping. And check out that C4 Club, because he's only got a limited number of spots left, and we're going to fill it up. We're going to get it filled up and get him to his goals. So check it out, foodforestfarms.com. Other than that, I think I'm going to wrap up for the day. Tomorrow we'll pick up with the morning. Basically, it'll be the same. We'll be waking up. I woke up early, started troubleshooting, and started figuring some things out. So we'll catch you back up with that tomorrow. I appreciate everybody listening this morning. If you want to find out more about me, you can check out thelotsproject.com. That's going to get shifted around here and get shaken up and change with the beginning of the show as we're rolling into fall here. Change with the changes in the show as we're rolling into fall here. You can go order some comfrey at comfreyroots.com. We're test running a new product here pretty soon, which is exciting. From the mind of the C4 guy, a guy that I chose to partner with in my comfrey business. Brian has been a valuable member for that team, and we're coming up with a new product and going to test that out, hopefully roll it out soon. But check out comfreyroots.com for all your Comfrey Roots needs. You can always message me with questions or anything like that. Fountain.fm or Podverse is a great place to listen to the audio feed of any of the podcasts you listen to, and you can return value to your podcasters. Search it over there. Other than that, guys, I had a great morning telling you about the first day of our little lightning adventure, and we'll roll back to it tomorrow morning. I hope you guys have an awesome Monday. Get a bunch of shit done. I can't wait to tell you all the shit that was broken with my camper tomorrow. We'll see you then, 6 a.m. Central.